All right, we got Dan Jackson coming off his national championship grid championship win. It's kind of awesome. He's been working on that for, God, at least 5 years in the muck, just grinding it out. And they finally got there and it paid off. And also, I haven't caught up with him in about a year. So it's going to be a great little catch up session, but also talking some grid, talking some CrossFit. There's a lot going on in the CrossFit world, a lot of getting pooped on. We're going to poop on it. So if you're into that, you're a weirdo, but also check it out.
Welcome to the Warrior Mindset Podcast. We are your guide as you make your way through life, getting better 1% every day. We believe that life is lived and true victory won through adversity. Nothing easy is ever worth it. We believe in the warrior ethos and support those that choose to walk that path.
All right. You're live. Don't curse. I'm just kidding. You can curse all you
ATL, Scotty.
want. Well, dude,
Peace up. Hey, found it.
it's been a while since we talked. Congratulations, man. That was
Oh, thanks.
awesome. Atlanta Wild. You won. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, 5 years in the making, man.
Yeah, dude. It's been
The
a journey.
best part about it, yep, dude, it really has. I think the best part about it, my wife pointed this out, is this is the first year the Florida Grid League became a national grid league, the United Grid League.
Yeah.
We're the first team and only team outside of the state of Florida, and we won the first year that the sport becomes national.
Legit.
Like that can never be taken away from us, and it's really cool to me.
It's very cool. And
It's a lot of firsts.
You won pretty handily, though, didn't you?
Yeah. The athletes primed themselves very, very well. The season started off, I don't know, kind of, I won't say shaky, but four of our, what would have been, I'm sorry, three of who became and one of who would have been very impactful players did not play in our first match against the Venom. That being Griffin Raleigh, Blake Kidder, Matt Cable, and Dee McGillivray.
Why's that?
Matt Cable delivered his daughter on the side of I-4.
Oh, man. That is no reason. You should still be there.
That's right. That's right. In warm-up, Blake strained his lower abs doing an L-sit pull-up.
Ouch.
Or an L-sit legless rope climb, to where like he couldn't even do anything. He couldn't stand up all the way.
Wow.
And Griffin strained his hamstring doing some sprint work about a month before the match. So we had, and Dee tore her PCL doing a farmer's carry tester for us. So she was out for the season at that point.
God.
But
yeah.
So that was the only match where our ladder score got beat by any other team. And whoever's listening to this, the ladder is the sixth race of the United Grid League match formats.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can put a little snippet.
Yeah, I'll have to. I'll make sure we link to it. Grid is. You call it Grid or Grid 6?
So Grid 6 is like the Festivus games.
Yeah.
Grid.
Okay. Yeah.
So like what you guys did in 2019 was like the intro, if you will.
Yeah.
And I'm not allowed to say, but I'll hint at Grid 6 is about to become national.
Sweet.
There's going to be something called a Grid 6 series that's in the work, and it's going to it's going to be like regional teams versus each other type of deal.
Love it.
But I'd say that with caution. I don't know, because it's not my thing. I'm not running it. I'm just the coach of one of the teams.
Right.
But it is something. It's like, think of it as like a farm league for grid.
It's definitely needed.
100%.
We come back.
CrossFit being stupid.
Oh, good. I'm glad you brought that up. I was like, we can come back around to that, but it seems like, however much comfortable you're talking about CrossFit, but
I'm fine with it.
It seems like the world is primed for some new stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just perfectly positioned for grid to slide into some of that space.
And it has. I mean, it's always been there, right?
Yeah.
It's history, as you very well know. Like some financial decisions that were made by Budding wasn't great, so
Yeah.
it collapsed after the 2016 season. But now the commissioner Mather Wiswall and his sister Ruby George Wiswall, or Ruby Wiswall, her last name's George now.
Yeah. Something.
Um, they were the owner and operator of the Miami Surge, and they're the ones who started the Florida Grid League in 2016, the last
Gotcha.
season of the National Pro Grid League. And they've done a really good job of maintaining connections. And I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit again. Uh, Pre-recording, I tooted my own horn.
It's a
For those of you who don't
podcast, man. That's what it's for. We're so self-important. We can toot our own horn as much as we want.
I've done a really good job of getting the highest caliber athletes into the sport of grid.
I think you have.
Now,
I've watched you.
i.e., remember Nick Shappy?
Mm-hmm.
He was on a Southern Amateur Grid League team, right?
Okay.
And he was on the Misfits team at the Grid 6 at Cottontown.
I remember.
He's one of the best utility players in the league.
Right.
Now, he's not the best. That's Griffin Raleigh, who I also brought to the league. And Amanda Fisher, who I also brought to the league.
Yeah.
But then also the Billingtons, Carrie and Tyler Billington, who are on our team, they were at that Grid 6 also.
Okay.
And then also this season, bringing back Tom Soroka.
That was a huge move, in my opinion. I've been a fan of his for a while.
Oh, he's great, and I'm sure you saw. And you and I can discuss this when we're done recording because there's some legal stuff behind it.
Sure.
The post that he put up about what some of the stuff John Young said about our grid people, but
yeah,
I can't discuss that any further. You and I can talk about that later.
Yeah, I get you.
But yeah, Tom coming back was big. It ended in the most positive way for him because Tom has only had a jaded experience with grid.
Really?
Yeah, dude. When he played for the Rhinos, I'm not going to disclose the details because it's not my place, and I don't want to piss him off because he can break me in half. But he could Thanos me easily.
He is very Thanos-like.
Dude, he's a gentle giant, but when it comes to men, he will murder them at the drop of a hat.
And these are two, you and I mean, two big guys saying this guy's big.
Yeah, I didn't realize he's the runt of his family.
It's like you ever see the picture of that guy Thor Bjornsson?
Oh yeah.
You ever see a picture of like him and his brother and his dad? He's like the shortest one. It's like what in the hell?
Tom's only like 6'1".
Okay.
His brothers are like 6'7" and 6'6", I think.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it was
crazy.
Getting him back in the league. In my opinion, I'm right there with you. Is a really big deal.
I think so.
Because one, he's a good voice. He's a phenomenal voice for sports.
Right. He's got a lot of great outreach through his own Instagram and his own career.
Oh yeah. And he's not afraid to call a spade, even if the spade is actually a club or a heart or a diamond.
I would say I enjoy his dad jokes the most on Instagram.
Oh, dude, they're
how
fantastic.
many do you have? He probably has like a book of like 1 million of them.
The paradox one that he put up, it was a still shot of him pushing the torque tank.
Yeah.
And I'm walking with him saying, stop being slow, which I didn't actually say that. But it said, some people see 2 decks, but it's really a paradox. It's like 2 docks. Yeah,
it's terrible.
Right.
But great at the same time. Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, what did you do? What did you do in the preseason? Last time we talked, you were about to go into like a preseason camp. You were working with all your team. What did you do this time? Did you do anything different at all? Just repeat.
Oh, dude. A lot was different, and the overarching theme was structure, organization, and professionalism. So going into camp this year, I actually had to have a structure. knowing the athletes that were going to be there. A lot of them are very type A. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they weren't very big fans of it, but we kicked off with all 7 ladders
Okay.
as the first thing. So in two across 2.5 hours, Gene, every single one of them did every single ladder of every
Whew.
single match.
Whew.
But that's because like I needed their data on it,
Hmm.
and only like 3 to 4 of them did it out of the 19 athletes on the team.
Okay.
So sorry, not sorry, because I mean, grid is still.
Well,
And
I mean,
you and I
look,
should honestly do an episode someday about like constructing a lineup for grid if you have a population over there or your listening population is interested in trying to learn the sport, because the sport, the lineup is still based on how I do it, and obviously it works based on the ladder, who's going to be in a
okay.
ladder and what's needed.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's in the middle of the match.
Well, I mean, if you can't do, honestly, having done one on whatever level I did mine at, but like if you can't go through 2.5 hours of working out or doing random stuff, you're probably not going to
Right.
make it through a full day at a grid match. I mean, honestly.
And in a grid match feels so like the grid experience you had was an all day thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Reality, a grid match is an hour and a half long,
Right. A
but it's
bunch of
like a
short
football
races.
game.
Yeah.
It's like a football game though. You're sore for the next week.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was definitely sore.
Dude, it's like the stress that it puts on the CNS, man. Cortisol levels through the roof, and like, God, it's a beautiful sport.
There's nothing like competition. I mean,
true.
You can work out as hard as you want. You could train as hard as you want, but if you go and compete in something, that is a different level, a completely different level. I actually had I took a guy through training to an actual fight earlier this year. I think it was like March. Anyway, and you know he's like a college athlete, amazing guy, and put him in the fight. And this one was like, it was small. It was like 2 rounds, 2-minute rounds with a minute in between. And after that first round, he was, he sat down and he looked up at me. I was like, you got about 30 seconds. He's like, for what? I was like, for the second round, dude. He's like, what? I'm not done. I was like, dude, you got another round to go. And he was just like, he like didn't even know where he was, like but that's competition, man.
Dude, that's insane. Like, especially fighting. Like it's during or after quarantine was over. I think I talked to you a little bit about this. Like a buddy of mine, he would come over and we would do some sparring and stuff.
Yeah. I remember the videos.
Like,
yeah,
dude, just 2 minutes of boxing, man.
Yeah.
And I was tanked.
Yeah,
and like this was back when I wasn't so much of a circular shape, but I was in shape. I was a shape, just less round. And it's still like, bless America. It's tough.
Yeah.
Like I can't even fathom. Like I have so much respect for you with what you do on the mixed martial arts side of things.
I wasn't fighting; he was fighting. I was just helping him.
I know, but your history, man. Like,
yeah, thank you.
It's very awe-inspiring.
How do you? I mean, is that just like is it a fringe benefit of the people that you brought in and work with that they understand the difference, or did you have to bring some people up to speed?
There were a couple people that I had to bring up to speed, and one of them responded to it. The other one, not so much. That's as far as I'll go there.
Yeah.
For right now, anyway.
I see that too. I mean, I've brought people up, that want to do a fight, and they don't even, they don't make it. They're just like, this is too intense, and I'm like, well, wait till you get in the fight, like.
Well, so like take that. Like what the person said to you there about what or whoever.
Yeah.
Well, it's part of the fight. In this sense, it's more like, well, your role is specifically this. I can't have you do everything.
Right.
Because of the rule book, and also you're not fast enough.
Right.
I understand you can do it,
but that's not what you're here for.
Exactly. Yeah. So. And honestly, the people that only gave me the problems with that were like the people, and this isn't just this past season. This is past seasons and even in PGL level, but it's the people who think they're good at CrossFit. Those are the ones that are like, oh, I can do this. Like, I know you can, but you're slow.
Yeah.
This is a sport where you have to move fast and precise,
Hmm.
not methodically, Travis
Right.
Williams.
Well, yeah. I mean, I imagine that's a whole thing. Like people comparing CrossFit to grid. I mean, the movements are similar.
To a degree. The move. So I'm actually glad you said that. I'll give a quick education, if I may.
Absolutely.
So in CrossFit, the standard for the air squat,
Mm.
it starts at the top, hip crease below knee, full extension at the top, right?
Hmm.
In grid, anything squat related starts at the bottom.
Hmm.
So, for
Okay.
example, if you're going to do clusters, and for those who don't know, that's a clean into a thruster, or you can choose to squat clean and then thruster, or usually it requires a change of direction, right?
Mm.
In grid, you can literally just sit in the bottom of a squat on the first rep, reverse curl the bar to your front rack, and do a thruster, and then
Hmm.
repeat that same thing. You don't have to reach hip extension. It doesn't. The barbell does not have to pass through extension. I don't know if that. I may be saying
Hmm.
the incorrect standard for the cluster in CrossFit, but essentially, like Gene, what I'm getting at is in CrossFit, squat starts standing up. In grid, squatting
Right.
starts from the bottom.
Huh.
And then
Interesting.
there's also the movement standards for like in ring muscle ups. Butterfly ring muscle ups are not allowed in CrossFit. I don't really know why, um, because the movement
Eh.
standard is the same.
Wonder if it's a safety thing. Although putting CrossFit and safety in the same sentence seems kind of funny now, but
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna be an asshole here, man. Um, After Lazard drowned on live television, I was done.
yeah.
Like
I
entirely done. Like that, I knew that guy,
oh, did you?
and yeah, like not really really well, but like we've interacted,
Yeah.
and you know, it didn't help that like that was the same week my grandma died, and then there were three
Mm,
other people that were family friends that died that week
yeah.
too.
It's like right in your
And
face.
then yeah, and then having watched two people drown in
Yeah.
person,
Yeah.
it's not something you want to see someone you know do. Um, and
I
then
will
go
quickly
ahead.
say for context, if you're listening to this for the first time you're hearing Dan is a or was, I don't know how you want to say it, present or past, but sought after swimming coach in the CrossFit community, games level. So
That's still a thing. We still do
yeah,
that.
yeah, I'm sure you do, but just putting some context there why that's a
I see. Yeah,
more, in my opinion, more relevant coming from you than probably most people.
that's fair. I mean, it pisses me off the most because CrossFit was blatantly negligent by not
Yeah.
having actual lifeguards out there. Those people weren't
I
lifeguards,
I think
and there
we're
were
gonna
only two,
see I think we're gonna see as time goes on just how negligent they were.
especially with Fitzgerald retiring.
Mhm.
I'd be curious what type of hush money they had to pay out, but I'm not going to be a conspiracy theorist or whatnot because knowing Griffin and Griffin having been to the games in 2020, I'm sorry, yeah,
Yeah, I
2020,
think it was 2020.
and then him being on the demo team the following year, and then captain of the demo team the following year after
Mm,
that, he knows everybody behind the scenes.
right. For
And he
sure.
shared stuff with me that, out of respect for him, I won't share. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
we'll put it this way: speculation about Dave Castro, you're right,
Mm.
and it sucks. Fuck that guy.
It does suck. I've felt, a growing distance between me and CrossFit for probably, I'd say since about 2019. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm with you. I this this year kinda ended it for me. I officially don't give a shit, but, I'd been feeling that way for the past couple of years. We haven't done the open in our gym probably for 3 years. Um,
Which is nothing wrong with that. It's honestly just like
I mean, yeah, it's a thing, but
that was a brainwashing technique used. Oh, sign up for the open, be part of the community, pay $20.
I used to love the community. I used to love
Oh
the
yeah.
personalities. I used to love, like, I would rush home to catch, Castro announcing what was going on at the open at home. Like, I would rush
With
home
cornrows.
and yeah, I would rush home and
Yeah.
watch that. And
Yeah.
I think we're seeing it across CrossFit with everybody like certain people retiring, like
Hmm.
Fikowski, and then one of the daughters. I forget which one it was.
Catherine.
Yeah, Katrin just announced her
Well,
retirement.
Sarah retired last year because
Yeah.
of her knee, I believe.
Yeah. So I
But, yeah,
mean,
and that's another thing too. Like the athletes aren't taken care of.
you can see that. You can see that.
And
You can see that for sure.
it's a bummer. I feel bad shitting on CrossFit because this needs to be a positive conversation with you since we haven't spoken in a while, man. And
Well, this
I
is
don't want your listeners to
I
be down.
appreciate
But
that. I appreciate that. But this is I mean, this affects our world, man. I mean, I'm gonna loosely say I'm a professional. You definitely are a professional in the space. I mean, so it affects business, it affects our life, it affects our brain. I mean, I know you probably carry weight just thinking about. I mean, you said you knew him. I didn't know him, but it's a
yeah,
thing.
well, I mean,
It's a whole thing.
there's a lot of stuff that coincides with, like, yeah, I didn't know him, but like Griffin was friends with him.
Yeah.
Brian Friend, Be Friendly Fitness,
Okay.
he was friends with him. I'm friends with Brian. Like, I'm
Yeah.
very close to people who were very close and
Yeah.
very, very close to
Yeah.
him. And also, like, being a lifeguard myself, being a lifeguard instructor,
Mm-hmm.
and the vantage point that those guards had, nothing was blocking their view. And then don't even get me fucking started
Doesn't make
on
sense.
doing an 800-meter swim after a 3.5-mile run
Yeah.
in the Texas. Yeah, it was morning, but it's still Texas
Yeah.
in the summer, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, like, not allowing muscle dense CrossFit athletes to wear buoyancy suits is stupid.
Yeah.
Like, it genuinely is. There should never have been an open water swim event after they got out of the salt water.
Mm.
I mean, like, at least they can float better in the ocean.
Right. Right.
And there are also like 700 lifeguards in California that were there.
Yeah,
But
it's ridiculous.
it's whatever. Yeah,
It's
let's
ridiculous.
move on. I'm going to start going down a huge rabbit hole, man, because it still pisses me off to this
Yeah,
day.
I can see that.
Yeah.
No, it's disgusting. It really is.
Mhm.
It's sad. It's sad. It killed something that I did enjoy, honestly.
Yeah. Lazar was actually a water polo player too.
Yeah, I read that. I read that he had a lot of experience in the water. I'll end with this, but I was talking with someone in the gym the other day, and they asked me my opinion of it, and I was like, all the literal safety issues aside, right? Like, you train Navy SEALs in the water. They do some stuff that could get them killed. They know what they signed up for. You go to the games, you do some stuff. You could die at the games. You know what you signed up for, but just the absolute disregard for what it looks like to people watching that thing and not even being, they don't understand any of it, and they're watching it, and the optics of all of that just shows you how devoid of leadership the whole CrossFit business is. And I was saying somebody like a Fikowski, and I don't Fitkowski, I can't pronounce it exactly right, but like somebody like him would probably lead that organization in a way that would bring people like me back into being interested in it.
100%, because like Fikowski is like the golden child of CrossFit, honestly. Like, so I worked with him a couple times in the pool, and he genuinely is like one of the nicest, most genuine people.
Seems like it.
Like he is super fucking cool and very straightforward and matter of fact, but in a way of like, if you say something that's incorrect, he goes, "Oh, no, here's how it actually is. I don't want to belittle you, but the information, like, let's look at it through this lens."
Well, they call him the professor, right? I mean, they don't do that for
he's
no
very
reason.
smart.
Yeah,
he's very smart.
But insert anyone, right? Insert anyone. Insert Froning. Insert anyone. Like somebody like that is going to run that organization from that point, not the managing the books and the back end and all that bullshit of a business. Like the committee can do that, but like that front end part, they just don't have it, and they haven't had it for a long time. And I think
they haven't had it at all. Ever.
Oh, yeah, well, you can go way back.
Once it started becoming like a sport, because it honestly, Gene, it honestly is a great methodology.
I mean, we still use it.
Yeah, constantly varied functional movement. It's ideal for like increasing. I mean, look at like Greg Glassman, even though he was an idiot during the George Floyd stuff, Greg Glassman put together a pristine training regimen. It kind of compiled every bit of everything. and well, I mean, shit, obviously. And then like you had people losing 100 pounds. You had people
Yeah.
going from type 2 diabetes to no diabetes. You had
Yeah.
people literally reversing MS because they were following paleo diet. Like
Crazy.
autism for the win, man. Risen with the tism.
That's pretty good. That's
I
pretty
only
good.
say that because I think it did come out that he is on the spectrum.
A Glassman?
I think so. And I
Oh,
can also make that
I don't
joke. My brother-in-law is autistic and
know.
schizophrenic.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with anything there. I mean, I think you could go back way farther, the issues with Glassman and stuff like that, but that's a whole CrossFit wormhole, like you said.
Yeah. We're talking about grid and catching up with the homie.
Yeah, grid.
Yeah.
What's
And Rick
next
and
for
Morty.
Rick and Morty? What's next for you? I mean, are you gonna
So
when does it start up
right
again?
so dates are undefined, but it will be
Okay.
earlier this year.
Ooh,
It'll likely be happening during the Open, which in my opinion is
good.
good.
That's good.
Um, because it won't actually interfere with the games for
Yeah.
any of the athletes that because like the season would start like this year it was going to start June 1st, but we had a great opportunity to be a part of Mr. Olympia in Vegas. So we shifted the start to July 4th weekend or the weekend after that,
Okay.
whatever July 6th was. Um, and we had the Fitness Expo in the UBU Fitness Expo in Orlando. And then in August, we had our second match in Tampa, mid
Mm,
August, that was the week after the games or
right.
before. Week
I
after.
don't remember when
I
the
think
hell
it's
the
the week.
games were.
I think it was the week
Yeah.
after the game. But either way, like you had people coming back from the games
Yeah.
to be in a grid match. So like they
Completely
do
wrecked.
grueling. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
37 workouts across 2 days, and then
Yeah.
they come to do a fucking grid match. Um, and then Mr. Olympia in Vegas was in October, and then we just finished the championship the weekend,
Mm,
um, 2 weekends before Thanksgiving.
good Lord.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
there's a long season, Gene,
That's
and
a lot.
for there only to be like one match, or I guess in October, Mr. Olympia's case, 2 matches, like one match a month.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
And the season technically started in April, like April 10th, I
Okay.
think, was when
Okay.
the official start date of the season was because
Right.
uh, I'm sorry, player fees were due, signings had to be all
Mm,
in, and so on and so forth.
yeah.
Um, so we're gearing up for that again. The re-signing period started 2 weeks ago, I
Okay.
believe. Yeah, and it'll go until I want to say the second week of January this year. I don't know for sure yet. I wasn't able to be on the call yesterday that we
Mm,
had. Um, every other Tuesday we have a team owners call. Um, Griffin and I were asked to be on the Jason CF Media podcast.
mm.
What's it called? Plate
Yeah, I saw that.
Plate Stack
Yeah.
Chat. Plate Stack Chat, I think.
Yeah.
Which honestly, like, there's a lot of unhinged conversation on his podcast. Um,
Yeah. Hey
it's
man,
funny.
whatever. It's a podcast. Do whatever you want.
Oh yeah, he does a good job of talking to every grid team and
Mm,
most of the athletes too. So, and he's in the UK.
okay.
But yeah, I would encourage if you specifically want to get a good recap on like the season as a whole, watch basically any episode that he had any grid players on,
Okay.
and that'll tell you everything about it.
Cool.
But I'm also happy to talk about it here too. But the next step is going to be okay. We're laying down who's coming back or who wants to come back, who is likely going to be cut, who we want to ask back out of those who want to come back or are coming back, and then who's retiring.
Oh, okay.
Which we already know, like RJ's retiring this year. Because I mean, dude, that boy's been training for grid since 2016.
Yeah.
His body's just destroyed.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
So can you imagine training grid for 8 years to win a
Holy,
championship,
yeah.
and then the winning is only $20,000, and you get like $500 of it?
Yeah. You don't do it for the money.
No, but it helps.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but his wife Mia and another friend of mine, John Chen, they are the co-owners of the team, so like he didn't have to worry too much about the financial side of stuff
Okay.
this year, because those two got some good. They got some good stuff for the team, but
Cool.
financially speaking, but yeah. So in conversation with a few people that are not on teams, because I can't talk to any other athletes
Mm-hmm.
that are on teams. I broke that rule last year, and I did that without knowing it, and I still feel bad about it to this
Mm-hmm.
day.
You paid your
Um,
penance.
oh yes, I did, and I have to still do some damage control over that because one of our
Oh.
athletes. Yeah, I told you that before you're recording, but just so everyone knows, one of our athletes broke that rule, and so I have to do some damage control there. But
Mm-hmm.
the penalty is just like it's 1 week delay in us having access to the free agents. So
Oh.
our re-signing period got extended an extra week,
Mm.
um, even though like it helps that we won.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people are gonna probably wait to see if we contact them,
For sure.
especially when they know who's leaving. So to give you a quick rundown, the people who are not coming back next year, RJ, Patrick Long,
Okay.
as of right now, Tom, unfortunately,
Well, yeah.
um, and Blake Kidder.
Okay. Okay.
So like four very impactful people,
Yeah.
and that's just on the guys' side. On the women's side, um, probably D. It's a little less defined because they're kind of like in limbo about
Mm.
it if they want to come back or not.
Right.
D, Casey, and um, D, Casey, Yana, and Ariana. Ariana has a torn rotator cuff.
Oh God, surgery time. So
Yeah.
how big is it? Remind me how big is the team? How big?
You can have up to 20 people.
20
So
people. Yeah, so you gotta that's like half the people.
yeah, yeah. You can have 8 active men and women, so
Mm.
16 active players, 5 starters, 3 reserves, 1 wild card, and then you have 2 athletes that are well, really you have let's say 2 athletes. I mean, 1 male, 1 female. If you have a full roster of 20, um, 1
Right.
male, 1 female, who are the 9 slot, if you will. They are inactive for the
Mm.
match. And then if you have all 20, then you have another pair of athletes, a male and a female, that are on reserve for the season.
Mm.
If like something were to come up, illness, injury, work, family death, anything along those lines.
Yeah, you gotta sub somebody in.
Which is honestly really annoying, um, because like that rule really fucked me this year.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, because I had a kid, 19-year-old kid, that dude, he was going to be good. And
Mm.
unfortunately, the 2 match formats that I specifically recruited him for weren't until the end of the season. So there wasn't a guarantee that he'd be able to play. So he just quit.
Right.
After he did 10 clusters in the start of the sprint relay in the first match and then quit. Now, granted, I'm going to take,
Bruh.
well, yeah. I mean, he's a kid. He's a
Yeah,
kid, right?
I know.
19. He's also, I say this because it's matter of fact, like he's very high functioning autistic,
Mm.
and in the to the point also where this is going to sound negative, but I'm just saying things that are matter of fact. Because he has said this to me. He has said like, if I don't see it's going to benefit me, I'm just not going to do it.
Mm.
So like if I'll use this very specific example because this is when I found this out. We're driving back from Orlando and it's raining really hard, so I put on my blinkers.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Why did you do that?" He genuinely didn't know why I did it. And I said, "Well, so that way, like people behind me can see that I'm in front of them,
Mm-hmm.
and also so people in front of me can see if I'm coming up on them,
Mm-hmm.
so they can maneuver appropriately or this, that, and
Yeah,
the
right.
other. So like I'm being cautious and considerate." And
Yeah.
he goes, "That makes sense. I never would have done that because I would have just been driving with me."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, that's fine,
Yeah.
Nick.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what makes you such a good coach, man.
I don't know about
How do
that.
you not, or do you, maybe I'm misspeaking. How do you not hold grudges?
I can't.
You
And
can't.
also, like, I'm a very selfish person in that sense. I
Mm.
mean, Gene, I'll hold a grudge if it negatively impacts my wife and my kids.
That's not the same thing. I'm
I
talking
know,
about
I know.
that. I'm talking about that guy leaving after 9 clusters,
Oh, well, so
or maybe you
because
do.
part of honestly, like part of it was my fault.
See, there you go.
Part of it was my fault in my mind. So, Gene, you know how I am. We've known each other for long enough now, but like, for everyone listening, I guess, like I'm the type of dude to where if someone's going to make a decision like that and it doesn't make sense to me,
Mm.
I had to have somehow provoked it, right? And so I'm going to seek a way to learn from it
Hmm.
and try to better my character.
Right.
And so like I talked to him for like 2 hours after the fact, like a few weeks later, and he laid out all the reasons why, and like the stuff that he said was valid.
Hmm.
It was things that I could grow upon as a coach, and he made some really, really good points.
Mm.
And like he's 19, but he functions at like a 45-year-old level when it comes to like being a wise man.
Mm.
Like the stuff he said was brilliant.
Mm.
I was very impressed, and I started to put that together as best as I could at the time,
Mm.
but it didn't come to full fruition until after the Vegas matches when I drove. My wife and I drove to Vegas from Atlanta,
Oof.
and I drove back by myself, and she
Whew.
had to fly to West Virginia for work with Home Depot,
Mm.
um, or Virginia, one of the two. But anyway, I was so distraught with how badly I had coached in Vegas,
Mm.
bro. From Vegas until I think it was I don't remember what city. It begins with an F in Arizona. 5.5 hours, pure silence, no radio, no headphones, no music,
Mm.
nothing. Just thinking about how can I get my shit together for these guys and my family because I'm not going to lose another season. Which spoiler alert, I didn't. Um,
That's
but
heavy,
like
man.
dog. Sorry, Gene. I took notes upon notes. Well, video notes. I wasn't
Yeah.
going to be writing while driving.
Yeah.
Not across the literal entire country.
Well, pretty
Um,
much.
Beautiful drive though.
I bet.
I would do it. I would do it again.
I bet.
When you hit the New Mexico border,
Uh-huh.
dude, it gets distracting with
Oh,
how
wow.
beautiful the West is.
Mm. It is, man.
Yeah,
I've been out
like
there
Vegas.
3 or 4 times. I want to go back. Like
How
it's
did you go to Vegas or where did you go?
I've never been to Vegas. I've had like 3 friends this year alone go to Vegas.
Don't go.
But like not Vegas, but like hiking, like in the
The outskirts,
was it Red
dude.
Rock, whatever, like
Yeah.
hiking
Oh
and
my
going to
God, so
that's what they've
beautiful.
done.
Bro, it looks fake.
Yeah.
Like it, honest to God, looks fake. Like Vegas sucks, by the way. It's a disgusting place.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of.
And not just from the standpoint of like it advocates everything in Sodom and
Yeah.
Gomorrah,
Yeah.
but it's just there's the fentanyl people
Mm.
that are around, and it's just like it's an area where people are proud to be not good people.
Yeah.
Like why? But
Yeah,
whatever.
I don't get it.
The terrain and the backdrop, the background, like the mountain in my
Beautiful.
background.
Yeah. It's gone away now.
It's gone away.
Yeah, the cloud moved.
Yeah, I couldn't. I wish that I had the ability to take pictures while I was driving because
Yeah,
my God,
yeah, I know.
like I would, dude, I would just like live out there if I could, like just out in the fucking mountains.
we went to Alaska last summer, and that was amazing.
Rub it in.
It was amazing. But my dumb
Where'd
ass
you go?
was like, went to Anchorage, went up to
nice.
But anyway, it was like, I don't know if you've seen the pictures. It's like a mountain and it goes right into the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
My dumb ass is like, how high above sea level are we? For these mountains. And the locals are like, that's the ocean, dog. Like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I've never been here before.
That makes me so happy. That makes me so happy you said that. Don't judge me.
Yeah, dude, I've never been here before. But that's
I mean,
cool.
Honestly, it's kind of interesting to think about because you have such a high peak that you're looking at.
Yeah.
You could, yeah, it's fair.
Yeah.
It's like in Provo, Utah, or I'm sorry, in Salt Lake City, it's kind of like that.
Mm,
It's like you're really high above sea level,
yeah.
but there's this giant ass lake.
That's a lake. That was the Pacific
Ye-
Ocean.
well, yes, but like from a when you're flying in and it's just like a vast thing of
Yeah.
darkness, it
Yeah.
resembles the ocean. To me, it did
Yeah.
anyway. But
Yeah.
I could have also been high. Who knows? I wasn't high. Not back then. It wasn't legal.
You are
Don't do drugs, kid.
yeah, don't
Just
do
do
drugs.
psychedelics.
You are one of the most humble coaches I've talked to, man, that you look
Uh,
inward. How do you manage? Well, maybe I'm misthinking. Like are you say some of your athletes are like type A. Like are they do you
they
have
just like
any
organization.
okay.
Yeah, they like.
They want to know like what's coming next and why are we doing it this way?
Yeah, and my
Yeah.
answer is usually, well, look at the data, or you're going to have to wait because the league hasn't told me yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which that really sucks because like we did our exit interviews. I think we're done with them now. At least the owners did, and one of the requests going forward is like, can we get the movements that we're going to be doing, like what our
Mm.
roles are sooner, the lineup sooner. It's like, I hope you can,
Yeah.
because shit changes. And like
Yeah.
Gene, to give you one example, the first match this year for all teams, we had 8 weeks to prepare for two brand new high skill. Well, to a gym oak like me, they're high skill. To gymnasts, they're not. But aerials, which are no
I
handed cartwheels,
saw that. I was like,
yeah,
what in the hell?
and in the gymnastics world, what they call giants,
Okay.
which it was just high rings, ring to handstand. So like whenever in the gymnastics, whenever they do the rings routine
Mm.
and they pause completely inverted on the rings,
Right. Right. Right.
like
Right.
when they do that big ass circle into the handstand, like that's a giant.
Okay.
Now, thankfully, they kind of altered the standards a little bit to where like I didn't have any gymnasts this year at all. I had Tyler Billington, who's a former stuntman
Mm.
and firefighter, and Carrie Billington, who's a cheerleader. Like, and RJ was a bodyweight specialist this year also, just because he couldn't squat very well, but he couldn't do aerials,
Mm.
but he did the giants. So, like example, Carrie and Tyler, they had to learn how to do the aerials,
Mm.
and they're Tyler will be 30 and Carrie's 36, and they're learning a high skill.
Yeah.
Well, it really depends on who you talk to because it's like one of the first things taught in gymnastics and cheerleading, I guess, is an aerial.
What?
Um,
I mean, it looks pretty high skill to me.
yeah, me too. I mean, yeah. I mean,
I mean, what
I'm
one of the other movements is was it a burpee backflip? Was that one of
yeah,
the?
but that's always been in
Yeah, but like, what the hell is that?
a
I mean,
burpee into a backflip.
yeah, I know, but I mean, like, holy shit, man. I mean,
Yeah,
that seems pretty high skill
there's
to me.
that one definitely is, but it's easier to learn than the aerial, according to what Tyler and Carrie told me. So Tyler had to do a Webster,
What's that?
which is it's a front flip, but you land bop bop.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of like
Yeah.
you're doing a front flip and landing in a lunge,
Right.
like a mid lunge, if that
So you
makes
can
sense.
flip and run. Right.
Yeah, but so they had to stay inside one quadrant. So
Okay.
so they were just going back and forth.
Right.
Whereas like um, Quentin, oh, and Quentin Ambrosio, who's been the bodyweight specialist of the year for up teen amount of years. His brother was signed with the Aces this year, and he did gainers.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, which was honestly, and he dislocated his finger doing them.
I saw that. Was that was on a video or something? Yeah.
Yeah, they posted it, and
Yeah.
I love how they made it too because it's he did the gainer and then he looked down at his hand and then the video stopped and it did like the
Yeah.
AOL
Yeah. That's what I saw.
and then he fixed it back like right
He's
away.
Like,
Yep. That was he only played in that one match, I think.
yeah.
He's also a first responder, I believe. But anyway, we only had 8 weeks to prepare for aerials and giants.
Yeah. That's not enough time.
And we also there was the partner forward was different in that match because in partner forward how the weight usually gets heavier and the reps
Mm-hmm.
get lower, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this time the weight stayed the same and the reps went higher.
Okay.
So in the first quadrant, it was thrusters. Well,
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing, it was thrusters and heavy rope single unders. The guys, it was a 2-inch thick rope. For girls, it was an inch and a half thick rope. So
Mm.
basically, like picture a battle rope cut in 6 feet or 6 foot length or whatever. Well, we were only able to practice with that once.
Mm.
Yeah, it's pretty damn nuts. But I'm sorry, damn it, the partner forward, the thrusters, the weight was 185 for guys and 125 for women. And the rep scheme went six. I'm sorry, 4, 6, 8, 10 down the grid floor instead of
Damn.
10, 8, 6, 4. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. But um, yeah, we had 8 weeks to prepare for that, and I
Mm.
had no way to get data on people for that to create a lineup
Right.
because we had no ability to test the jump rope but once at camp.
Mm.
So
You better be
that made
paying
it
attention.
challenging.
You better be paying
Yeah,
attention, coach.
yeah. So this year, like there's going to be a lot of changes demanded essentially by the coaches
Mm.
and the owners. So circling this all back to your question, what's the next step? From the league side of things, we will be developing, or will at least be in conversation of developing a coaches committee,
Mm.
an ethics committee, an athlete committee.
Right.
And the ethics committee, due to, oh, sorry, one sec. The ethics committee, due to, come on, Kyle. I gotta let my dogs out. Come on, Gene. The ethics committee, due to the John Young stuff,
Mm.
um, with the stuff that he said. But the the coaches committee and athlete committee, due to things like what I just said about having
Yeah.
such a short amount of time. But then there's also some other stuff that I'm not going to disclose just because I'm not comfortable to do it.
Yeah.
Good things will come. We have our 8 hour long league wide call with all coaches and owners on the 16th, I believe.
8 hours.
Yeah, it is the call to plan the whole league or the whole season.
Mm. Cool.
So it'll be good, honestly. Like good stuff's gonna come.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
I just really hope that we don't have those types of changes again,
Mm-hmm.
because like things changing such short notice, like the risk of injury greatly
Right.
increases,
Right.
especially in this sport where it has to be done at 110% speed.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. They need to have experience with that stuff before you
yeah,
turn them loose and destroy themselves.
true. Now, I will say another step for next season. If anybody, and if you have everybody at the gym or anybody listening, or even yourself, Gene, since you were a supporter of the team
Mm-hmm.
last season, not this past season, but one previous with Corey, all teams are individually run and operated.
Mm-hmm.
We are not owned by the league, if that makes sense. We pay dues to be a part of the league, but we are the Atlanta Wild, like we're an LLC. So if anybody is looking for a tax write-off, or if they just want to get a brand name out nationally, feel free to hit us up.
Yeah. We
It's
sponsored
like,
that, not this year, but the year before.
yeah, it's the 2023 season. You sponsored Corey,
Mm-hmm.
and that was greatly appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Corey didn't get as much of the limelight as I was personally hoping, but that was due to injury.
Mm.
But he was able to be in that first match against the Venom, and his rope climbs were critical for us winning that.
That's cool.
Most sponsors this year got a large ROI because the league
For sure. I mean, yeah.
nationally. I mean, I really miss you, Gene.
I appreciate it.
I know we're still on the air, but it means a lot because thinking about it, like I only knew you for 8 months.
Yeah.
And
Crazy.
the connection that I made with you guys there, like I think I still talk to at least 5 or 6 of them.
Oh, really?
Excluding you and Heather
Yeah.
and Ebe. No, it's intermittent, but like I talked to Jason for a long time
Oh,
after I left.
cool.
And then oh crap, what's her name?
There's a bunch
Shoot,
of them.
shoot, shoot, shoot about like Warrior Princess.
Oh, Adrian.
Adrian, yeah.
Yeah,
Talked to her for a little while, and then
yeah.
who was the? I'm still friends with her. This woman on Facebook. I can't remember. This is embarrassing. You remember her name? I think Trace, not Tracy. Um, Trudy.
Trudy. I don't remember Trudy.
She was an older lady. And she was in really good shape. And she was
Mm,
strong. She did my strength class quite
cool.
often
Cool.
on Sundays. Man, like I want to. You mentioned a moment ago about like being excited for the Open back in the day,
Yeah.
and dude, Workhorse is just an awesome place.
Thank you.
Like Ebe and you and Heather put so much of your life into that place,
Yep.
and even now,
I wish you could see
is it?
it. I wish you could experience what we're doing now. I really do.
Maybe
It's
I'll make my way over to Columbia for
I
a
love it.
recruiting trip or
I
something.
love it. I love it. Um, we don't have, we don't have athletes like we used to have. I mean, there was a while Ebe was trying to develop like a CrossFit team or whatever, but
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
remember that.
we don't have athletes like that. We got martial artists now. But it's
Yeah.
just trying to create something that is so much beyond just being a gym. And I know that sounds like really cheesy, but
Not at all.
I tell people when they come in, so you'll appreciate this. I don't know, but so to become a member of our gym, you have to go through 6 weeks of trial. I call it 6 weeks trial,
Okay.
and it's written that it's a 6 weeks trial for both you and us. Period. And I don't think people
I like that a lot.
fully understand what I mean. And I've had a couple of people that were like, "Hey, your 6 weeks is up. Have a nice, catch you around Columbia." And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, see you." Like you're not invited to stay. And I know that
Yeah.
sounds so like arrogant, but like
No,
you,
you're trying to have create a culture.
yeah, you have to have. I tell them you have to have more than a pulse and a credit card to become a member here.
Absolutely. I mean that's awesome, dude. I would want to be a member. I do want to be a member of your gym, but I would if we still live there. Like I would be dead ass in love with that. I am
I
in love with
appreciate it.
that. I think it's because I
That's
mean,
what it is.
especially with fitness like being such a challenge in Colombia
It's
specifically.
dude, the business of fitness is also a huge challenge in Columbia, but the
Yeah.
people, I mean, I live here. The people of South Carolina are a problem when it comes to fitness too. And
Yeah. I mean, I know that
maybe the South in general. But I know you're in Atlanta.
Georgia's gotten better, but I do in North Carolina also, but I do agree with you.
Yeah.
But North Carolina also is like North Carolina kind of skews the data because they have Asheville,
Right.
and I don't mean like because it just got annihilated by Helene, but I mean just it's a very healthy place.
Mm-hmm.
Super granola, super hippie,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and just like natural foods galore.
Yeah. And they have
Uh,
Charlotte. Like Charlotte is
a super clean city,
it's
at least it was.
super. There's a ton of it's like fitness businesses and things,
Yeah.
one-off boutiques and just all kinds of shit in Charlotte. I don't know what Atlanta's like. I've not studied that at all, but
Well, we'll put it this way: a lot of CrossFit Games athletes are in Atlanta.
okay. So there you
A
go.
lot of them.
Yeah.
It's a Atlanta's dirty, right? Like it's not trying to be
Yeah.
a dick here. It's just
No, we're all from the South.
it's a dirty city. Like
Yeah.
Charlotte's clean.
Yeah.
Atlanta's just it. I don't really know how to say it without being a complete asshole, man. Like it's just not.
Yeah.
A lot of it to me is so. I would never live anywhere close to downtown
Yeah.
ever. If I was given $1 million and a free place to stay for a year, I would say fuck you very much and have a nice day. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
But that's also because like places like Fort Hood fucked me up with
Mm-hmm.
like massive crowds of dirty people. But
Mm.
not saying our military is dirty. I'm saying that some of the population there that we encountered. But
Well, Columbia
uh,
is an equal mix of both.
I won't disagree with that, man. I didn't know that Gervais Street was like probably shouldn't be there at night. I had no idea.
Yeah, parts of it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
parts of it.
Surefire Taco still there?
No.
Oh, damn it.
It is still a taco place. It's just a different one.
Okay. Dude, that place is so good. But
That's
you know,
funny.
one thing I love about Columbia, two
Hmm.
things, three things, but the number one thing is obvious. It's you and you guys,
No.
my homies back there.
No.
But but the farmers market,
Oh yeah.
how it takes up the entire street, like
Yeah.
blocks.
The whole main street. Yeah. It's like 9
Hmm.
blocks. Yeah.
And I love how the Capitol building feels secluded from everything.
Yeah, it's cool. It's
It's
probably the best
super neat.
it's the best park in the city.
I love it. I
Yeah,
really,
it's cool.
because we would go there. We would go there and to Sesquicentennial
Mhm.
every like other day.
That's cool.
Granted, we lived like a mile and a half from Sesquicentennial State
Yeah.
Park. And Kyle would come back with ticks every time, but dude, that loop,
Yeah, it's cool.
around the lake is beautiful, and
it's cool.
that playground is dope.
Yeah,
And
it's
the
cool.
splash pad that's there. Remember the splash pad?
I don't know. I haven't been out there since my kids were little. It's kind of weird.
Well, it may not be there anymore. I mean, we haven't been there since
I don't know if the splash
17.
pad's still there, but Sesqui's still there. It's
That's awesome.
in all its glory.
That's yeah. We have a lot of good memories of that place, man.
Yeah.
No, in the Whole Foods, dog. Oh,
Yeah, Whole Foods is good.
that Whole Foods down there by Target,
Yeah.
right?
Pretty close to Target, yeah.
Yeah. They would have the $11.99 wings. You can fit as many into a bucket as possible. Dude. And that Whole Foods was great too, because it was never crowded.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's Columbia.
Yeah, I mean, if Columbia's school system were better, which
agreed.
we're gonna homeschool our kids because of the public school system nationally. But that's for a different conversation.
Yeah.
We're tired of our kids getting dumber, and we know that it's not the teacher's fault.
Yeah, I know. I'm so happy my kids are not in public school anymore. I have several friends that have young kids, and I feel for them, just having to navigate the world of just craziness.
Yeah, and I feel so bad for the teachers, because it's like the teachers here, like the girls go to a really, really good elementary school, really good one. Thumbs up. Oh,
yeah, that weird.
But it's top 100 in the nation but it's a character school.
Mm.
So it teaches a lot about, like, obviously, we're in Atlanta, so inclusion.
Yeah.
But like how to be a good person.
Yeah.
The downside, if you want your child to be a competitive athlete, that's not a good school to go to.
Mm.
Because you have to reteach that, but that can be taught at home. That aside, the skill level that my kids had in reading specifically when they would start school was always higher than when it would be at the end of the first semester. I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, what's the deal here? And it's because, like, the teacher, it's mandated that the teachers cannot go beyond a certain point.
Isn't that crazy?
Like, that sucks. Like, I feel bad for the kids. I feel bad for the teachers. The teachers are stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Well, my youngest was in college prep calculus when he graduated high school, and now he's at College of Charleston freshman year. He's in algebra. He's in intro college algebra 1, and he's struggling.
The fuck is that?
It's like basic algebra. Like, he's struggling. It's like, what the hell? I mean, he's like honor roll. Like,
yeah, your kid's smart.
And it's like, huh?
Maybe just partying too much.
No, it's the school district, man. The school district we're in. It's like, it's bullshit. Like, just the way. I don't get it.
I don't think any of us will. I mean, granted, because we could go down if we had 6 hours to talk about this, we'd go down a massive rabbit hole of, like, just how fucked the public school system is because of the decisions made above them. It's like the graduating criteria, I'm pretty sure, is lower than what my wife and I had
Yeah, for
when
sure.
we graduated in 2008, which is weird because like, calculus wasn't a requirement for my dad to graduate high school. I don't even think
Mhm.
pre-calc was.
Yeah.
And now it's like a lot of high school kids, when my wife and I were in high school, like Calc 2 was needed. Like they would go to IU and
Mhm.
take math classes, physics classes, whatever, because like with the program they were following, they had to do it in order to
Mhm.
graduate with whatever their honors diploma or whatever diploma they were getting. And now it seems like anyone can get an honors diploma just by showing up.
It seems
Is
like
that
it.
inappropriate to say?
It seems like it.
Well, I want to be corrected if anybody listening to this, and they hear
Oh,
me
they
say that,
will.
like I want to be corrected, honestly, and I
Yeah.
want you to let me know.
It really feels like it. Having just put two kids through high school, they're both in
Mm,
college. It really feels like it. It really feels like it's
it's a
they're
it's a
missing
bummer, but
like when I was in high school, I graduated high school 92
mm,
and I'm out of 300 kids, I was like 298, in terms of being ranked. But
hey
like
man, podium.
my wife 50. My wife was in the top 10. What?
Oh shit!
My wife was in the top 10, like in the top 5, I'm pretty sure. If I forget where she was exactly, but like
And now you're
that was
smarter. I'm kidding.
that was a thing. That was a thing. Like being in the
Yeah,
top 10, like they were like, look at the top 10 students, fucking they're awesome. But now they don't do that.
we want to monitor their feelings.
They do. My youngest was graduating and they were doing the top 10 and they wouldn't say their names. It was like a list that they wouldn't make the list public, you know. And it's like, what? They
Um,
should be rewarded.
yeah,
It's
I
like we
mean,
know who the quarterback is. Like, what's the
we know
deal?
we know who MVPs are.
Yeah,
We know who wins
what
competitions.
what is the problem? Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. I
No
don't
one
get
kept
why it's
no one kept track of Hoist Gracie's past,
I mean,
like his winnings, right?
I was
Come on.
not in the top 10. I was probably not in the top 200 when I graduated high school. It didn't make me feel bad. I didn't be like, "Oh, I'm not as smart as those guys." I'm like, "I'm good. I'm good, dog. I'm going to get out and I'm good." Like I wasn't like, I don't understand. I don't get where
I
things
don't.
are.
Well, I mean, it's all a money game, right, Gene? Look,
I guess.
I'll say this one piece about me on that real quick, and then we can move on, um, if you want. I I graduated high school with a 3.7, and I cheated through all of my English classes and my history class. I had all of my sister's papers. My wife did my homework for me in government class. I didn't ask her to do it; she just
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
Which I guess there was one time I asked her to do it. I had to turn in 3 papers, otherwise I was going to fail. Um,
We sound very
and like
similar.
but like, and then fast forward to college, like I graduated undergrad with a 2.2.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I have a doctorate and a master's degree and I have a master's degree and a half and a
Yeah.
doctorate.
Yeah.
How does that make sense?
It doesn't, but that's life. Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. I know.
I also took advantage of a couple things. Like my first master's at Xavier, that was the first or the second year of the program, or semester
Yeah.
of the program, and unfortunately that program's no longer offered. The guy who developed it retired, and then
Mm.
quarantine killed it. But then for my doctorate, I took advantage of enrollment being down and schools being desperate to have students, so I applied and got
It
in
doesn't
because they
matter.
just needed bodies. Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter headset.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
That's how you get through
but
life,
then
man. You take advantage of shit.
yeah, which oh god, I hate how true that actually is. But what's the saying? It is what it is. Oh
A
well.
very smart man told me once, if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
And true. I mean, it's kind of funny because like you think about people who they have their little cheat sheets written on their
Yeah.
arm.
I mean, come
They
on,
learn,
man.
and then they don't have to use their arm because they learned all the material.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's
Can't
funny.
can't can't do that in grid though. Nope.
No, that's something we can talk about that. That's something I love about. That's something I've always loved about CrossFit. Something I like about grid. Something I love about kickboxing and fighting is you can talk about it all day long, but until you go out there and try it and do it, We all know.
Oh,
We all
yeah.
know. We all know who's who.
Oh,
You
yeah.
see it. You see it immediately, and I love that about that. In a world where I think talking probably gets you most of the accolades you need, but you know,
Doing the work is different.
it's a life of show me, don't tell me. You know.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I think the sport of grid is evolving to, because they've been trying to do like this WWE thing of like starting drama and shit talk and whatnot, and like honestly, it didn't
Please
really
don't.
work.
Please don't.
Which I mean, look, playful shit talk like you see in the
Oh,
NFL,
that's
like
different. Yeah.
that's fine. But when I was talking like WWE style shit talk, Gene, I was talking about like the over exaggerated,
Okay.
clearly fake shit talk, like
Uh.
funny. But
Right.
like that was also because we were in conversation with the WWE network, to be on their, not the, I guess their live stream, but like
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
their, just their network,
Right.
last year. But um, thankfully, there was so much adversity. There was so much adversity for the league this year, like with the two hurricanes and some
Mm,
other shit behind the scenes that I'm not allowed to say, that allowed the grid to actually show the community side of it all.
mm.
So, example, just real quick in Vegas, like three of the teams, the Aces, the Brigade, and the Lions. The Lions had two athletes there. The
Okay.
Brigade had, I'm sorry, the Lions had three, the Brigade had two, and the Aces had five. Now, remember, for those of you listening, there's up to 20 players on one team.
Yeah.
These were three teams with less than a quarter of that. Um, so they made a super team. They just combined those three teams
Mm,
together. So it was like, I mean, honestly, I'll explain it to you all, Gene, you specifically later when we can talk about it sometime if you're curious about it. But in short, the judging squad, the referee squad, they were the big problem getting out there because they were in Florida. Like the bulk of the us being able to do a match, any
mm.
of matches, they lived in Tampa, where Milton was just obliterating,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So like they couldn't get out
Yeah.
to Vegas. So what
Yeah.
happened was some of the coaches, including myself and some of the players, like we were part of the equipment crew and we judged and
Yeah.
we helped like with scoring. Well, not really scoring, but like like uh, what was the other thing? Oh shit, I don't remember. But it wasn't as like, I think it was media related stuff.
Mm.
But the point of that is like the league got more successful by showcasing that, and also the Buttery Bros helped because they did a documentary
Yeah.
episode
I
on
was
a.
curious. I was curious if that actually helped.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Because the
love their
Buttery Bros,
I love their approach.
what?
They're just like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, well,
We're all gonna die.
yeah. Obviously, like part of that is an act, right? Because
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah, yeah. They're
they
incredible athletes.
yes, they are, and they used to be in. I know that actually, I don't know if it was all three of them, but I know at least one of them was involved with the grid in 2014.
Really?
When Tony Budding left,
Ah, okay.
I don't remember which of the Buttery Bros it was that
Hmm.
left with Tony, but he left and did grid, and then that's what sparked the Buttery Bros stuff, I think. And then
Hmm.
I think that was part of the reason why Castro and Buttery Bros always like butted heads.
Really?
Well, there's not like bad blood between them, but it's not as bad as like Hiller.
Oh man. You want to talk about Hiller? I
That
have a
dude is
love hate
something.
relation. I have a love hate relationship about him. Did I say that right? I have a love
Yeah,
hate
yeah, that's right.
relationship with Hiller. Yeah. Um, I
What's yours?
enjoy I enjoy a lot of his posts because I'm kind of like where he is with being very critical of CrossFit. But then I'm
Hmm.
also like, bro, just shut the fuck up. Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't need to
really annoying.
see all your goddamn reviews of people's like not reaching depth on their squat. Like,
Yeah.
come on,
So
bro. And I get it.
I,
I get it. But ugh.
uh, I'll be honest, man. I only hated him because I just don't like those. whether it's a character you're portraying, like a Floyd Mayweather
It's
type of character,
constant,
like
the constant negativity.
yeah, it's not. It's like, look, we all knew that Floyd Mayweather, his obnoxiousness and Conor McGregor's obnoxiousness, like, is a character.
Yeah.
Like, it got publicity, it got
Yeah.
views, etc. And I hated him just for that because he was exploiting it in my mind and whatnot. And then Griffin met him in person.
Mm.
And this was shortly after he had said something about Griffin
Mm.
that Griffin didn't like, and it also wasn't true. So Hiller approached Griffin the second he saw Griffin at the games, and the way I'm gonna get non-PC with it. Remember the episode of Rick and Morty where Rick asked Morty if someone's retarded?
You're explaining someone's interaction by referencing a Rick and Morty episode. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So
I think he is.
Yeah. So Griffin was gonna like kill him. Like he was ready to fight him. Like he was genuinely ready to like throw hands and break his neck until he looked at Hiller's face, and then he went, "Oh,
yeah."
So I honestly, I've never seen him in person. I don't know.
Can't help it.
I wonder, like the vocabulary that Hiller used talking to Griffin. With what I understand, Griffin was like, "Yeah, this guy's definitely like,
yeah, he's not
actually short bus."
Yeah.
I can't harm this guy. I just have to pat him on the head and walk away and say,
"Yeah,
here's your sucker, Johnny. I gotta go."
Damn.
Which I mean, I feel bad. Like I'm gonna will I get ripped apart for that, Gene?
Probably not.
Yeah, because I genuinely don't mean that with any malice or to make fun of Hiller.
Yeah.
I'm just describing like I hated Hiller until like you can't hate somebody who actually has a disability.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like everybody has a right to free speech and this shit and that shit. It's fine.
Yeah.
And it also was a reminder, hey Dan, there's always another side to stuff.
But he will find some video of some local, like, Columbia market size CrossFit gym doing a competition, and then show someone like their chin's not all the way over the bar, and like rip it apart, and it's like, bro, like that's why I hate CrossFit right now.
He did that with one of our blacklisted athletes, Tristan Meredith, who is he's up and coming, but he's a no name. Nobody knows who he is.
Yeah.
But if you do want to know wwho he is, just go watch the championship match because he was on the team.
I'll add a link.
But it was a random just workout, and he shared it on.
Yeah.
Hiller shared it on his page and put the little bat symbol or the little bat icon or whatever, and it's like, what the fuck, man?
Bro, yeah. Like what? I don't get it. I don't understand.
Oh well, I mean, thankfully,
put a shirt on.
Yeah, right. Thankfully, what happened with John Young and Barbell Spin with us.
Yeah.
Hiller got involved with that.
Did he?
He did, and he was about to start a bunch of shit, but CrossFit saved us by making their announcement less than a week after the shit that went down with us.
Okay.
And then Hiller jumped on that, and it's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, fuck.
We don't have to deal with that anymore. Because, I mean, like, he was saying stupid shit like, oh, Grid League, I know who you voted for. It's like, okay.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Go back into your room, write down some new insults, try again.
Yeah. Yeah, I think CrossFit kind of opened the door for people like that, though. Like being the way they are. Being the way they are, it's just kind of open territory for them.
Well, ever since Russell Berger started jumping on people and suing them, and then saying the I'm against gay marriage shit or whatever he said, that got him really ripped apart. Like, that was the start of it all. And I'm embarrassed that he was at my level 1. Him and Christmas Abbott. Like, Christmas isn't a bad human to a degree, but she's, I don't know. Mike G just retired.
I think if you ask most people, I mean, you and I we go pretty far back with being CrossFit fans. I think you ask most people who somebody like Christmas Abbott is, they won't even know.
No, they will, because she was on Big Brother for like 5 seasons or whatever.
Sure.
She's got nudes all over the place. She's got foot job videos. And
yeah. I mean, but for the most part, like, yeah, they're not going to know that person. They're not really going to know. I mean, shit, they're not really even going to know Froning. You know what I mean?
They will, just because of Mayhem, because like Mayhem, even with High Rocks coming into play, like Mayhem's not going to go anywhere. Froning's always going to be involved.
I wanted to ask you what you thought about High Rocks.
I don't know anything about it, if I'm
Oh,
being
you don't
honest.
know?
I've not looked into it. I've
Mm,
been so focused on grid and swimming,
I
because like we
bet.
have in swimming, we have state championships coming up next week or this
Okay.
weekend, so like a couple days.
Okay.
Um, and just being so enveloped with grid, and then
Yeah.
also all the family related issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're putting the house on the market this weekend, so we've been
Okay.
getting the house ready to
That's a
sell.
lot of work.
We've had a lot happening.
A little bit.
But I hear people talking about it, and I've
Yeah.
seen some videos. Like I saw Kyle Ruth from Training Think Tank put up a video that he did the High Rocks thing, I think, and it didn't look bad. It looked well organized.
Yeah.
It looked like there was a lot of Spartan-esque type stuff, but it was just indoors.
Yeah. It's
What is it exactly?
I forget how many stations it is. Say like, let's just say 12 because it's my favorite number.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
like 12 different stations. Like one station will be 20 burpees. One station will be 20 calories on the ski erg. Like just, kind of like a giant
it's like
circuit.
a circuit type of thing.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then there'll be like a run in between each circuit station, right? And it can
Okay.
be anything from like 200 meters to like wind up making the whole running distance be like a half marathon, like different.
Okay.
But the movements kind of stay the same, right? From race to race to race. So you're kind of doing
It's
the
not
same.
very high skill.
Not like CrossFit. No. There's not a lot of barbell work. Not a lot of gymnastics work. It's very, basic movements. There's a sister or brother to that called DECA, which is put on by
Okay.
the Spartan race. That's called
Okay.
DECA Fit or whatever, and it's
DecaFit. Yeah.
very
I
similar.
know. I'm familiar with DecaFit. It's similar to High Rocks.
Yeah, very similar.
Okay.
They're very similar.
Okay.
Yeah, but I know a lot of CrossFit athletes are going over to High Rocks.
Yeah, that's what I heard
think
too.
I think it's just because they're looking for a place to go. Grid could be a really great place.
100%. But unfortunately, like the CrossFit athletes that you're seeing looking for a place to go, I'm assuming a lot of them are long time veterans, right?
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So their bodies are already broken down, and grid's just going to make it that much worse because
Got you.
grid is a sport. Grid's like strongman. It's a sport for performance, not health.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like we don't drug test.
Okay.
It's not happily looked upon, but like also who gives a fuck, perform.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't mean to be that sounds weird to say, but look, man, who's not on something?
Oh, come on. Yeah. We both work in the industry, man. We know.
Yeah.
You're not fooling
Now, I
me.
will say Griffin Raleigh is genuinely not on anything because it will literally kill him.
Mm.
His body is a mosaic, man, like beyond any mosaic of a human body I've ever looked at under a microscope in my life.
Interesting.
He genuinely has to live a holistic lifestyle.
Hmm.
It's nuts. And he's the world's strongest CrossFit athlete.
Yeah.
Games athlete. Sorry, world's strongest games athlete.
Yeah.
That dude can still clean 450.
That's insane.
450, man.
That's insane.
His power cleans 420. Blaze it.
That's a lot. Yeah, well, I mean, I think you should take a look at it. It's
High Rocks.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing that's happening.
Okay.
You never know.
Well, is it going to have swimming involved?
Probably not.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Probably not.
That honestly,
well, neither is CrossFit now. So what are you doing?
Well, so okay, so I still believe that CrossFit should have a swimming event.
I do too.
But it needs to be in a damn pool.
Yeah, or
like there's no business for it to be open water. Honestly,
yeah.
Like have it in a pool just like they used to. Like the best swim event they had was in I think it's 2013, where it was 25-meter swim, 3-bar muscle ups, 25-meter swim, 10 rounds.
I remember watching that. That was crazy.
Yeah, Jordan
How do you get out of
Troyan
the
killed it.
How do you get out of the water and do a bar muscle up?
It's a every stroke, single arm bar muscle up, get out of the water, muscle up,
Yeah.
and
Like,
then 3-bar muscle up.
Who's programming this shit? It's kind
It's
of
a lot of pulling.
Yeah. Let's sign
Hell
off with
yeah.
this one for now, man. And I'm gonna catch you soon.
Love you, buddy.